worry. We need to be very careful, all of us, and take it easy. This is very, very important. Pindigal Kotwa, Mkhonza. Roy, how are you doing, my brother?
Hi, Saubrey and the viewers at home.
Okay, okay. And also Ntwentle, Cheke. Cheki, how are you doing, my brother?
Okay, thanks, my brother. How are you?
All right.
With the colleagues and the viewers out there.
And Tshepang too. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to my fellow colleagues and the viewers at home.
All right. I see that Shakes is still struggling. Is trying to come in. Remember, when it's raining, sometimes, we have a problem with network. But nevertheless, he's still trying to join. He'll join us. Guys,
I think the panel must consider Telkom as their.
I like selling your brand. I like selling your brand. I'll tell you something, so I don't want to embarrass you, but nevertheless, we'll talk. Gentlemen, lot is happening. There's issue around TTM that we need to talk about. There's this topic. I'll allocate time for the topic. There's this topic before we go to the results and all that. Or Jackie, do you want us to start with the results before we go?
No, you can continue. We'll come back. You can continue for now.
All right. And then there's this topic of should sports commentators, journalists, analysts declare who do they support, so that people know out there, or if they declare, they'll become biased. I want us to discuss that. Remember, we talked about that, and one of our family member, Fraser Kekane, wanted us to discuss this. Unfortunately, said he could not join us due to other things. But let's discuss this. Who wants to start? Who wants to take the first bite on this matter?
Saubrey, maybe before you go to that one, I wanted also to, if we could have in your slot, if maybe we could discuss. Just before we started, I was hearing one of the three, Manqoba speaking to Marawa, and I'm a bit worried if a team that we feel in terms of resources and capacity, Sundowns can give the players not on the bench, the ones that don't make it on the day, another squad. But the way he was talking, they're actually now, whether it's injuries, whether it's the COVID thing. So I get worried if a team that we felt that is so capacitated, how much more to other teams that have got lesser resources and lesser personnel.
Okay.
And maybe it could be something that we could also talk about.
That's something else that we need to talk about. Sheikhs, welcome back. We have already started. We want to start about, is it correct for soccer journalists, commentators, analysts to declare which team do they support, or they should not say anything? So I don't know who wants to start. And we'll also discuss that of Sundowns. Maybe after that, we'll go to that one of Sundowns before we go to TTM. And also, is it Mapepa who gave us, no, is it Mapepa or you, Pindigal, who Pindi Ote, Black Leopards? Is it Black Leopards that has fired the coach? But we'll talk.
Coach, yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that as the news, as passing news. Now, let's start. Who wants to start? Let me start. Pindigal Court. Awuqale Mfokababa. What's your take? Do commentators, journalists, show anchors, do they have to declare which team do they support?
My take, Saubrey, in the matter is irrespective, because my belief is before anyone becomes something, he or she will have started somewhere. So it would be very unfair for those guys, just because, let me say, for an example, given a practical example, I joined the commentatory position at age 50. I started maybe following Pirates at the age of 10, and then at 50 I decide, no, I want to broaden my knowledge or take a post of being a commentator or an analyst. So what does it say about me? Do I just flash all the years, or my love for the team of my choice, just because now I'm a commentator or I'm an analyst? The answer is no. The only problem is when credibility and consistency, because you see, you become one that the nation or people look up to in terms of your analysis, not because you favor this team. Your analytic or your analysis then speaks even to your exec team. When they're not doing well, you hit them. When they do good, you just do the same. It becomes more problem when anytime I get in, or anytime, for example, I heard some of the people on the social media that one of the commentators will just stretch it, and everyone, even a grade 2 kid, will see that this one
Yeah.
is this one. So I won't mention names, but it becomes a problem when you make it obvious. But at least, so long as you give a balanced critic, then I see no problem. And why I'm saying that is, I think we're following a global brand, and I actually I like what is happening in your English Premier League. If you check on what those guys or the panelists they use, it's either former players, and they what they do. If Arsenal is playing against Manchester, they will get the former players who are sort of analysts again. But when they give because they say my team, because they played for those teams. But when it's critical, when they have to analyze things, they take away that cap of that I played for this team. So I think it's something that we should get used to it. It's how the modern world is changing and adapting to. So we can't be left out to say, because we know Saubrey is a Pirate or is a Barcelona, then you can't be saying good things about Barcelona because we know exactly that you are Barcelona. But I think it's a matter of adaptation. The only thing, critical matter, is balancing your views so that you're not seen to be favoring or being biased.
Tshepang, do you agree with him, or what's your take?
No, I fully agree with Mr. Mkhonza. As long as you're not biased, then I think you're on the right path. You've got every right to support whatever team that you support, as long as when your analysis, when it comes to the team, as long as when it's supposed to be a positive analysis, given whatever, let me say, match score that had happened on the day, as long as if it's a positive outcome, then you're supposed to give a positive outcome. But if it's something negative that had happened to the team, you're supposed to critique it according to the standard of results that had happened. So you shouldn't be biased. That's all I can say. As long as you're not biased, and then I don't think it's a problem. So yeah.
I think Page will put it together nicely and Shakes because they even played for these teams. For instance, Page played for Jomo Cosmos, Black Aces, Mamelodi Sundowns. Paige, what's your take on this one? Is it correct for a journalist, soccer commentator, analyst to declare that this is my team? Just like Mr. Mkhonza is saying, we normally hear Ian Wright saying, they even go to an extent and say, I wish Arsenal win. You know, they don't hide it. John Barnes, for instance, he'll say, but when it comes to criticizing them, he'll criticize them. But you go and say, no, you know what, I want Liverpool to win. So I don't know what's your take. You as a player, you know it better. Jackie, I've not forgotten you, my brother. I see that Shakes is still struggling. He said he's got a problem of network. Mapepa?
Yes, Saubrey, Mkhonza, we shy that you cannot separate the two because of as you grow, as you study, as you become attached to football, surely corner that belong upon. Then once you start to work as an analyst, you have to come over ethical because of this between the bread and what you are earning out of that. Even if you favor them, but you cannot show them. But all that you are saying, your answers and your analytic overview and feedback will tell exactly where your heart is. And we are saying when you are attached emotionally, that's where your comment will lead to where people will realize that where you are. But I myself and everybody that see football cannot separate the two. As we are saying, Ayn Wright normally says, I like this to win. It also happened to me, remember I'm a fan of Paris. When we play them, you sort of reserve your own emotions. If you score, if they score, you become happy inside, but you are angry with yourself. But you end up maybe performing well, which tells that even if you favor this team, you're going to be on top of your game, whereby you take a lot of time. Even if they declare, I mean, it's good for them to declare, so that when they become biased, everybody knows where this person comes from. And that also makes the football game to be more interesting. Once you know this person, which team, then it's easy. That is my take.
And while you're still there, Pager, you can tell us better. You played for this team. Which was your favorite team as a childhood favorite team?
I grew up following Pirates from the early age. I used to go there with my father.
Which one?
When I was playing Pirates, you could
Pirates.
your own performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then
you still support Pirates even today?
No, I don't support Pirates anymore.
Okay.
I support football.
Oh, football. Okay. Yeah, because others, they cannot divorce themselves. I'll give an example. Jomo, for that matter. Jomo has a team.
Yes.
But Jomo will continue to say, hey, Pirates is home. Anything for Pirates. He doesn't even mind.
Yeah.
He even wishes the players, if they leave Cosmos, let them go to Pirates, not any other team.
Yeah.
You know, now there it shows that this guy owns a team, but he still says, I support Pirates, you know. I just wanted to balance these things. Ntwentle, I don't know. What's your take?
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
this is a very interesting kind of a topic indeed. And I must really acknowledge the fact that my colleagues have said a mouthful. I definitely agree with all my colleagues, Mr. Mkhonza, Tshepang, as well as Mr. Mahlangu. You know, football, it's a, let me not say football, sport. under general, it involves so much emotions. There's a song that was played by a gentleman called Paul Young. Wherever I lay my head, that's my home. You know, this topic, it takes me back. The other day I was talking to my brother-in-law, that is Jeris Kosan, and then I asked him what was happening, because he used to love. He's still a fan of Kaizer Chiefs, but whenever they play against Kaizer Chiefs, he was scoring more goals against Brandbaloi. What was happening there? He said to me, "You know what? I couldn't even celebrate the way I wanted, but I couldn't even hide that I love Kaizer Chiefs. But I was at work and I was doing my job. So there's nothing wrong with that. I was just doing my job, you know." So in this topic, really, I don't see any problem for us to acknowledge, or maybe to indicate which teams we are supporting. At the same time, we just need to control everything, the way we do things. When it comes to a commentary or analyzing or anything like that, we just need to make sure that we don't become too biased. Because once you become biased, then it means that now people will be able to judge you somehow. So I don't see any problem with that. The only important thing is that we need to make sure that we don't become biased. That's my take on that.
Okay, guys, you have said a mouthful, and then I'll call upon people out there, comment on this topic, tell us what you think, but please don't forget to like and subscribe. What's your take? You have heard what our commentators and analysts are saying, so there's nothing wrong, and then probably disagree. Remember, we don't have the monopoly of intelligence. So you may have a different view, which may be good. And then I also take it from this perspective that remember that the constitution of the country talks of transparency. So now, if you look from that perspective, it's better to be transparent so that people know that, no, Jackie is a Kaizer Chiefs, all right? Because that makes people to be able to check you, whether are you analyzing correctly or are you biased. That helps to be fair. When people know that Jake is a pirate. For instance, I'll tell you one thing. You know, Chomani, a friend of mine, Chomani is a Chiefs fan, big Chiefs fan. But he would not show it in his show. But you know, when he's not on the mic or behind the scene, he'll tell you, "I go nowhere. I'm a Chiefs." All right, and even Dr. Ivan Koza knew that Choman is a Chiefs. All right, but for me, I feel that it's important that we should know. Like we said, we see the English teams, guys declaring which team they support. Not only that, there is Neil Andrews at Supersport. Neil Andrews always tells us that he's a Tottenham Hotspur. But when it comes to him analyzing, you can see that he balances. If Tottenham Hotspur is not doing well, he will say it the way it is. So if you don't agree with us, definitely say it. Just tell us, and then, but we don't see any wrong. Like you are talking about Jerry, I still say heads off to Jerry, because Jerry is the only player who scored 4 goals against, according to me, my knowledge, 4 goals against Kaizer Chiefs, being one player. And Jomo was the best player Pirates has ever produced. For me, Jomo was the best player this country has ever produced. He has never scored 4 against Chiefs. So now what we have just said, that being a Pirates player, a Kaizer Chiefs fan, scoring 4, and like Paige is saying, whenever Pirates were scoring against them at Sundowns, you wouldn't feel good because he was there to do the work, although he's a Pirates fan. All right. So just there, let me ask, Tshepang, declare, what's your team?
I'm a Kaizer Chiefs supporter.
Internationally?
Man United and Barcelona.
Pindagal Kotwa, what's your team?
Kosi for life and Arsenal. Spain and the other leagues, I just follow good football and the German. I just follow the good football, but my main teams is Arsenal and Kaizer Chiefs.
Jackie?
Kosi for life and Liverpool.
And Liverpool.
You'll never walk alone.
You never walk alone.
Sure.
Mapepa, you've already told us that. Are you still Pirates or now you are neutral?
No, I've decided to be neutral because I've got friends that we are fighting, but I've decided to let me hide who I'm following.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's something that is saving our skin, all of us.
Yeah. Look, the fact of the matter is sometimes people need to understand that whatever views that we come up with, those are our personal views. And that does not mean that we are correct. We may be wrong. They must counter it with facts, all right? And then I'm a Cosmos. I'm a Barcelona. I'm Messi, for that matter. You know it then.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. But nevertheless, people continue, send us comments, what's your take, and they would like to hear this. Now, shall we move to the other subjects? The Mamelodi Sundowns story that Upindigal Kotwa Ostonsa. Can you lead us on that subject?
Yeah, bro. So I was just listening to Manqoba and clarifying the fact that actually things are tough. If you follow their games, I think this is the third game that they've have to. They've drawn. It was the Swallows, Celtics, and I don't know the other one. So it's bringing up that it's due to the challenges they're having in the camp, whether we be it COVID, the injuries, and now playing the CAF. So he counted like now the teams that are playing outside, they're exposed into more testing than the teams that are playing local in the league. So I just thought to myself, then you take for instance a team like the smaller teams that budget wise they can't afford getting more players, because I brought the debate when I brought this, that at sometimes the players that don't even make up the first team, you could take those players and let them play in any other team and they will fit and they can still perform. So if a team with all these resources and the best players and they're affected, what could be the impact on other teams that are actually are less in those resources?
You remind me of what Tshepang said last week. He said a very powerful point that he heard the coach of Morocco Swallows complaining that the players, you can see that they are tired. If you ask me, remember this is my opinion. If you ask me, I would say it was not a good strategy for the coach to go out in public and say my players are getting tired. Remember, the coach is a leader. So once a leader said that, indirectly or psychologically, you are telling them to accept that they are tired, instead of leading them to be warriors. I don't know, that's my opinion. You guys can have a different opinion. I'm sure Swallows fans will have a different opinion. Some of them may agree with me. I don't know, what's your take as far as that statement is concerned? Because I find it very disturbing that a coach, a leader of the players, and remember some of them are young, admitting that fatigue is catching up with us. So I'm tying up with what we have just said, Manqoba did on radio. Anyone who wants to comment about that?
Yes,
Yes, Mapepa?
Yes, this challenge is challenging all the teams in the PSL of this team of COVID. Then the team with a good financial muscle like Sundowns, they will afford anything from buying players to reinforce for this period of COVID only and loan them later somewhere. Because of, let's remember that when they go and play in Africa, the testing that is done internationally is a little bit strict and tough, whereby a player cannot be allowed maybe to enter another country before maybe testing twice or thrice. We don't know what's the case. Then when you compare how they are testing locally, you'll find that it's not so much tighter. Then that made that if you look at Sundowns, they might be having a challenge of not having a consistent team. You'll think that they are changing the players, only to find that it is not. You might find that others, they are being affected by this COVID. Others are being affected maybe by injuries, but injuries, no, I don't take that. It's only this of COVID that make them to have this challenge. I met a friend of mine on the weekend today, whereby he gave me a task of analyzing a certain player playing somewhere abroad, which is being chased by the same team. All of that I've asked him, why are you still signing players? Then he mentioned something like, if players are being diagnosed with this COVID, there's nothing that you can do. That player will take about 4 weeks to recover fully, according to their standards at Sundowns. Therefore, that tells you that, what about the teams that don't have that financial muscle? Can they afford to do that? Then that made that there is no balance in terms of affordability. Then we cannot blame them. Once the team is rich, there's nothing that you can do. They all have the resources, but those smaller teams, they will still manage. You can look at exactly what you have said about the Swallows, which take us back to what we have said previously, that can they sustain themselves to be in that position. If you don't have enough players, then you start to make a big blunder, as we have said, by exposing the depth of your team and saying they are tired. Then the question will be, they are tired of what? Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's you bring the same players because of the other team that is on the bench that's not playing. They cannot recover quicker in terms of them to come and play for your own teams. Also, that make that challenge, there is no way that we can run away from it. Only the team that got money, they will survive. Then that's my take. Then it's unfortunate that this COVID is affecting all of us, but because of it's not in balance in terms of the finances of the team, then we can leave it there and say they will see as a team, they will make some strategies, then they can still survive.
You have put it very nicely to say all teams are exposed to the same conditions, all right?
Yes.
And then let's look at Sundowns. Who are players who have been overused? I think of Mushishi here. Mushishi is playing locally, and Mushishi is playing when they go abroad. So, colleagues, I don't know. Let's look. Who are the players that are playing week in, week out at Mamelodi Sundowns? You'll correct me if I'm wrong. I think Mushishi is one of those players. He's being played. But remember, some players are very funny. You know, I heard Pep Guardiola said, Messi, if you say you rest him, that's when he gets more tired.
Mm-hmm.
Play him all the time. And he doesn't want to be benched. And you look the number of games that Messi plays, they are really abnormal. National team, Barcelona, even friendlies and so on. So looking at that, because now we are a global village, we need to compare ourselves with what is happening in other parts of the world. Paige, you played as a player. Playing more, does it make you feel fit, or you want to play less? I see that Juventus, they are trying to manage Ronaldo very well. Remember, Ronaldo is a little bit older now. Some games they don't play him, but I can hear from you, the former players. We were playing, amateurs, so there's nothing you can talk about it. You and Shakes can tell us better. The more you play, what does the body say?
Saubrey, that one is answered by two factors. A human being got two types of muscles, got a fast twitch and a slow twitch. Then it will depend what kind of muscles are you having. Once you have got this fast, they call it the fast twitch, it means your muscles are more strong than the slow twitch muscles.
Yeah.
Then you are given a method of training that is higher than the other players, as compared to the slow twitch. And as you grow, then you want to play more. And the more you play, you don't need to rest. I'm referring to the fast twitch players that got that group of muscle. They can play up until the age of 38, 36 if you're an infield player. The goalkeepers, they can go up until 50. Then, hence, if you look at Messi and compared to Ronaldo, they've already discovered scientifically that Ronaldo got the slow twitch muscles, even if his body is good. Hence, they always rest him as compared to Messi. Messi, remember, is short. He got fast twitch muscles. Hence, he can play almost every week for the whole season. And he can turn here quicker as compared to Ronaldo. That can tell that with the fast twitch muscles, you can turn anyway the way you want. You will never even change your own muscles. Then that make players that got those group of muscles, they hate to be on the bench. They always like to play game in, game out, as you have alluded to Mngqithi. Mngqithi is one player that I know in PSL because I was there when they were doing those testing of muscles at TASC at the University of Pretoria. Then he got this fast twitch muscles, hence he get annoyed once he is being taken off, and then you said you wanna rest him. They become disgruntled. They always want to play game in, game out. Then that's a trick between all of this. And those slow twitch muscles players, they will never play up until the age of 34. They can, but you'll see that as they proceed, their running rate deteriorates. It normally reduces and go down. And they pick up weight very quicker. All those slow twitch players, they pick up weight quick. Then watch them, those that they played up until the age of 36. You can look at Nomvete, you can look at the late shoes. They did not pick up any weight. They can only pick up weight once they are retired.
Sure, that's a good analysis, Paige. And you know what you have said is spot on. You know, Messi, you can see now is not as quick as he used to be. You see he has slowed down. You can see that now it's more brains. And while I'm still there, you know, Paige, you 98, you played more games. Remember you played at Sundowns, and then you also went to World Cup. That's a huge achievement. When we started to go to World Cup, Paige Mahlangu was there. So this should never be underestimated. And in that year, Paige, you played a lot, all right? So I think you know very well. How was it? Because you played so many games in 98.
No, as I'm saying, the team like Sundowns, they got the resources.
Yeah.
Then you are taken off in terms of you are given supplements that can help you to give you back your energy. Then again, if you are consistent, then you're almost given a fair time of resting during the week, not for the games. Maybe if you train 4 times a week, you're gonna be training about 3 times a week, but not you are absent. You are part of the team, you are doing less because of your age gap as compared to the other member of the team. Remember when I was there, I was already at my peak. I was really at my peak. Hence, it was not easy for me to be bench. I was doing more running and a lot of talking, and I was playing maybe to release the ball quicker, not to find yourself whereby you run more kilometers than any other one. Sort of you are using the brains more than the muscles. That's how we survive as you proceed as a player. Hence, we have alluded that Messi now is not sharper like before, but look what is he doing when he's on the ball. He do magic because of he only see the player that's three pass or he finished, that's it, then the game is sealed. Then the other factor is this one of not consuming too much alcohol in your own spare time, because of that is another poison in your own muscles, this thing of alcohol, because of alcohol, especially beer, it got more carbohydrates. And once you consume a lot, they turn into glucose. Once you got more glucose, then it's being converted again into lactic acid. Then hence you cannot sustain to running most of the time. Then we were given that lecture most of the time when I arrived there. It's done specifically for you as a new player so that you can choose whether what you're doing is needed or is not needed. But as somebody that is looking at your own age and looking at your own diet, looking at where you are going in terms of life of football and life after football, you have to take that in order for you to survive.
You have touched on a very beautiful subject. I want us to talk about it, not today, the subject of liquor, but we'll talk about it at some point. But that was a very, very valuable point. Pindigan Kotwa, I see your hand.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on something that Page has spoken about, which I've always I think every show that we've had where I've been participating, I've talked about the evolution of the game we're in now. You see, there is a scientific factor you just mentioned now. If you follow your football in the 70s and today, you'll have a coach, you'll have a goalkeeper coach, you'll have a physical trainer. If you look at the players, that vest that they put in terms of tracking the players, their movement within the ground, their physique and stuff, it just tells you how much the scientific factor. But on top of what Pages said, in terms of the muscles, that's where these guys who takes all the analysis of each and every player, whether you started the game, you came late, the exercising towards if you have to carry in, when they leave out, go to the dressing room, when they come back, they need to do some certain exercises. But on top of that, there's also this important, if you look at people from Kaizer Chiefs were complaining, hey, this Nico, he came back. He struggled the first 2 games. It was not because he has now turned to be a cow, but game time is so important. For those muscles to come into to play, to adapt, your mind on its own. Game time is so important. You can take the best player, but bench him for a couple of games, and then you bring him maybe, let's say, on the 7th game, and you want him to perform miracles. It will be very hard because he's not used to a game time. And beside the mind, the physique, the muscles and stuff, game time is very important.
Guys, you have said a mouthful, and then I want us to move on. We'll come back to this one of alcohol abuse, at some point, because one wants to know why other players sustain their career, others they can't. We know a lot who have sustained their careers. They are still looking good. If you look at Page, for instance, you may think that Page is still young, whereas Page is old. Old players, when you see them play, people like Jomo Sono, you still see. I remember his son at some point said, I never saw him play, but things that he do at the training, they really amaze me. So that shows, but we'll talk about that subject at some point. Let's move to this one of TTM. What's happening there? Because we hear that it has been sold. That's the news that you guys shared with me during the day. And there was an agent meeting that has been called with the players so that they can tell them about the future. Who wants to lead us on that topic? I know that Pindagal Kotwa, you were clued up, you were following that story very well. But I want to look at Tshepang and Jackie so that I can also hear their voices. Do you guys, who wants to lead on this subject? If you are not clued up, then I'll give to Mr. Mkhonza because I want you to participate.
Okay.
Do you have some information on that one?
Well, the information that I've got is it's not that new as such. A week ago, I spoke about a certain doctor who offered 50 million rand to TTM, and they were about to consider it. Now, according to the rumors, there's another gentleman from the Northwest who apparently has already bought the team, but we don't know how true is that. And this afternoon, I know that there was a meeting, an urgent meeting that was called by the club president to address the players. So we don't know exactly what transpired from that particular meeting and what was it all about. And we're still looking forward to hear more on this matter because it's such a real concern, especially involving players who are family members, who are breadwinners. This is having a negative kind of an impact to them. So we will keep looking into this matter until we get it, and maybe tomorrow or maybe later tonight we'll get something out of it.
I don't know what to say. I heard Pito, it was yesterday, on tweet. Pito said, and what he said, it makes a lot of sense. He said he wants to have a soccer school academy. But he said, please don't confuse it with School of Excellence. But I want a soccer school of football. He said he doesn't want to own a team. Because he said, this is what Pito said. Pito says, if you buy a team with 50 million, that's what Page said at some point, you must have at least 500 to 600 million to sustain the team. So Peter was saying, I don't have that kind of money. I don't know where these guys get that money. Maybe I need to ask. And then he said, maybe I need to ask the guy of the other team, Galaxy. All right. And then he said, maybe they're getting tenders or what. All right. And then Page once touched on this to say, it's not about the 50 million of buying a team. It's about the 50 million of buying a team. And also, how are you going to sustain the team? Remember, if you don't get a sponsor, what's going to happen? I'll give you an example. We saw what happened to Free State Stars. Ramai did his best, with Free State Stars. Fortunately enough, he got some tenders in the Free State, but it was tough. Remember Dr. Mlemela, a very good builder, one of the renowned businessman in the Free State, Bloemfontein. You know, he tried his best. He loved the team. He didn't want to let the team go. But finally, he had to let it go because running a team is really, really an expensive exercise. Now, it brings me back to this gentleman who was saying, I want to buy a team. But in his mind was to sell players, all right? And then I said, hey, football, it's a different terrain. As far as I'm concerned, people who are really, really suited there, it's Dr. Ivan Khoza, Dr. Jomo Sono, Dr. Mr. Kaiser Mutau, or Dr. Mutau. I know that he has not been conferred. I decide to call him Dr. Mutau because I don't think it's fair that up to this stage, he has not been conferred with a doctorate. Because these guys have been there for years, you know. And remember, Brapine Chabet, you know, who loved football, who could unearth talent, you know, he ultimately let it go. Remember, there was Chico Silotwala, Mike Mangena, they came, Ausriale Dwala. You know, I don't know, because I would have expected that, remember, if you want to understand the future, you must look back, you must look at the past and learn from the past. Then you can predict what's going to happen in the future. So I would have expected all these guys, before they buy teams, they could have done some bit of research with all these people that I mentioned, that they tried the teams. That's my opinion. I'm not saying I'm correct. Remember, it's my personal opinion. You may have a better opinion out there, and then I want you to give us a comment. Anyone who wants to add on this one? Asia, I was adding on what we have said. I don't know whether you want to add.
Yeah, Saubrey, Mkhonza give us a small hint about TTM. And my wish is to see it being bought by somebody that's going to have enough money to run that team. Because there is no point of you putting a 50 million and you don't have money to sustain and run the team more professional. And they are coming from bigger problems. Then how are you going to solve those problems? And which is something that is happening in our country, whereby somebody comes in with the 50 million. And most of them, when you ask them, as I did before, I asked one of the team owner, why are you buying this team? He couldn't budge. Then I end up declaring that you came to football because of you want people to realize that you've got more money because of heading some tenders, then you cannot be able to maybe hide yourself. Then you think by coming to football, that's where more people will know you. More people will recognize you because of if you are not in football, I don't think you can expose yourself more. Then that was that. My opinion is a question of foreign ownership. I don't know whether the PSL got that clause that allows foreigners to come and buy teams just like in England. Because of we end up in country not having enough people that got money to come and plow that money into football. What are you getting in return? Are there any returns? You'll find that there are no returns. Maybe you have mentioned Free State Stars. What happened? Maybe it's a question of not being able to sustain this thing of funding the same teams. You mentioned the Chigo, Twala, and Mangena, which they came into football together with Real Dwaba. Then all that they were doing, they were coming with the aim of maybe empowering the team and challenge those Soweto giants, only to find that those are the people that got the brains and they are the custodian of this football, if you can put it here. That one cannot be a secret. They've been there. All that they know is about football. You ask Dr. Khoza, you ask Dr. Mudau, you ask Jomoson, all that they know better in business is all about football business, which according to me, if they can allow this foreign ownership, it can also save us. It can also save us because of a foreigner will come and invest money. All that they do, they will put you in. They will elect maybe a CEO and say, you run this team. You want this team to be more profitable or to win how many games or whatsoever. Then it will start to work as a clear cooperative that can change all of what this mediocrity that we see in our country, whereby if people come and buy a team, the next thing they don't have money. Then you start to question yourself, did this person sit down and make a proper business plan of running this team, or he just came in and asked so and so, how can I buy this team? It was easy if money is upfront. I think if money is upfront in our country, you can buy the team. Where are you coming from? What business plan do we have? What strategy do we have? What are you bringing, you as a person, as a respectful businessman that is coming from wherever they are coming from? What are you bringing into our own game? Then you start to tell us as people that are following football that you only produce your bank statement there, saying I've got so much, I can afford this team. That's it. But what can you say? PSL is a business entity. You can buy a team at any time. If there is a willing buyer and a willing seller, then the transaction goes on. But I think that they are learning something that they will close this clause that is saying, can you buy only, or you can buy having enough money to run their project? Then it will be easy if that clause can come in. The one of foreign ownership, I think that maybe it needs to be debated. We can sort of forward this to the PSL and say, can you consider that clause of allowing foreign ownership of teams so that it can be good for our own football?
Mr. Mkhonza, I see you have raised your hands, but I'm going to move on this subject because I think we have exhausted much as far as this is concerned.
Just a bit, man. Aubrey.
A bit will be blah blah. It won't stop.
No. Just a bit. Okay. I think you touch on making such a topic a business case for all those that are coming into the game, and Pages touch on it. I just want to give you one example. I think people that stay around here, you'll remember the team Atli FC.
Yeah.
Yes.
You remember who was the owner? The guy had so many tenders and he thought all of a sudden he could buy a team. Where is that team today? I just wanted to bring that example.
Okay. But let me correct something. Guys, there's nothing wrong with a tender. In fact, for a business to be strong, you need tenders. It's a myth that when people are tendering, it looks as if it's a bad thing. But financial education and business understanding is important. All right? Because why I'm saying that big companies are tendering. Your Vodacom, they are tendering. Your Apple, they are tendering. All right? So it should not, no one should paint a picture that when you tender, then it's wrong. There's nothing wrong. All right? But nevertheless, we need to look at these things. Guys, I think we have done a lot in terms of local. And currently, I'm going to jump the slot of the scores and everything. Let's move on to international so that we close. Even international, I'm not going to give it much. I'm going to give it just a bit. We've done a lot as far as local is concerned. I think these topics are very, very important, all right? Because we need not always to discuss whatever that everybody is discussing. We need to do our own research and think which are areas that need to be discussed, which people are asking questions about, all right? So, yeah. So I'm sure, guys, you'll accept. I'm sure results they are happening all over. All look other shows, they're giving results. It's fine. So let's move on. Let's go international. Tshepang, there was a big one. Man United and Liverpool. I want you to come in there. How did you see the game?
Yeah, that was a big one.
And Jackie is a Liverpool fan. I want him also to comment.
Yeah, I think we're gonna fight a bit, but I did say last weekend that one team has to go through this the previous weekend. So it was unfortunate that Manchester United went through. The previous game that they've played in the league, it was too technical. I think we've discussed that, and then we're looking forward to a more open game as they were playing the FA Cup, which was what we got, and there was more goals within the match. So it raises eyebrows on the Liverpool side. Are they going to are they going to have a trophyless season or not? But also, is Manchester United also on the right path? Given their current form, do they deserve a trophy or not? But I think it's up to them. As I've said before, that it's all in their hands. They are capable of getting something out of their current form. So yeah, it was really interesting. It was a really interesting game. Manchester United won the game 3-2. It scored a late minute free kick, which was scored by Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, it was a really interesting game. It was a really nice game actually. So yeah.
And then Jackie, your big highlights.
Yeah, just quickly on that. Let me also highlight the fact that Manchester United really they've done well. They've just improved all of a sudden, and they're very consistent, and they're winning. They've got this never say die kind of an attitude. You know, if you look at the way they're playing, they are hungry. Players like Abu, this player, I'll just remember it right now, the one who scored the winning goal last week, Pogba. You know, players like Bob Pogba, all of a sudden they're very good and they're aggressive and then they're so committed to the whole thing. It's good for football. I'm just worried with my team, which is Liverpool. When I look at the way they are playing right now, it's a different Liverpool as compared to last season. I even doubt if we will even get a single trophy this year, this season. But I foresee Man United taking everything. Definitely, they are playing very good football. It reminds me of you, Mr. Shabalala, when you last time you mentioned that they must give the coach some more time so that he can be able to work on his team. And this is exactly what they did. And then now he's delivering the goods. So it shows that patience in football, especially when it comes to technical issues, it's very important. Yeah, so I'm just worried with my Liverpool because I don't know what happened, whether it's a slump or maybe I don't know. But I'm hopeful that we will come back.
Man United, they haven't taken a title, so let's wait
Yes,
until
but
they bring a
they are
title.
good contenders. They are consistent in terms of their performance.
Remember, people don't remember number 2.
Exactly.
I can ask you now, who was playing France World Cup?
Croatia.
We remember France, you know. Not
Yes.
all people remember number 2. All right. So even Man United, we want them to bring title because being a number 2, because I can ask you, who was number 2, 2006 or 2007? You don't even know because you are not interested in number 2. We are interested in number 1. Now, I want you guys to comment. What do you take about Fernandes? What do you take? Do you think this is the player of the future? What's your take of Paul Pogba? What you take of Salah? Salah scored 2 goals. But what's your take on Salah? What's happening with Mane? Fernandinho? I see Alexander Arnold is struggling. It's not Alexander Arnold that we saw when they were taking the Champions League. Let me hear Page and Pindagal Kortwa. I'm asking about these 2 players. Bruno Fernandes, and then Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba, as far as Man United is concerned. And then Liverpool, Salah. What do you want to say about Salah? Mane, Fernandinho, what's happening?
Saubrey, I think I gave my opinion on mainly on Pogba. I see even Fernandes now. He's a good player, but what I said, if those players put the team first, they assist the team in terms of prospering. So if you look at what Manchester has been doing of late, and you look the effort Pogba is giving, the same as Fernandes, the move he makes, he's marking, he's making sure he plays forward. So in all the teams, I think at some point, teams' efforts are overshadowed by these so-called big stars being known that the team revolves around. So if people raise their game and play for the team, I think that is the only medicine in my take, because you look you somebody that has watched Pogba the past not the recent 3 games or 4, the past, he looked tired, he was walking, you'll wish. I know there was those rumors he wants to go, he wants to he's looking for a team, but if you look at the current Pogba, you're saying no, people were telling lies. This guy is giving it all, he's making runs, he's marking. So you ask yourself. So I think teamwork is more important than your status as an individual.
Paige, what's your take? I want you to tell me about
Yes,
Salah.
Saubrey, I agree.
I don't know whether you watch Salah.
Yes, Saubrey, I will agree with Mkhonza there in terms of these players, how they contribute to the team. Exactly that the movement of players also, they affect them psychologically. That can be given to Pogba, the way he was not so much free before, but as the game progresses there, he seems to gain his confidence. Then he seems to be contributing positively into the structure of Man United. Hence, maybe behind the scene, he's contributing a lot. Hence, you see the Fernandes, they are becoming better. Then you go and look at Sanamane there at Liverpool. Then all of them, they are going down a little bit in terms of performance. Hence, Klopp have said they must not be worried about them and losing the FA. All they are concerned is just to check them up in order for them to fit in the winning mood of trying to win more games, the league games, than to focus on this cup. Then surely all the players, the top players, as they progress, they normally lose the form. And now it's expected that to happen because of during this COVID time, there was no proper preparation for the off season, which affects almost everybody. It's now survival of the fittest. Depend what is the backup staff doing, especially the technical team. What are they doing better? How are they analyzing their team so that it can boost the same players that are normally going down in terms of their performance? But they will pick up. You will see a Liverpool coming back. It can be Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, who are going to be the race at the end of the season, because of surely everybody, maybe in the next 2 months, they will have, maybe everybody will be at 90% fit. Locally, is still the same. We cannot rule all these teams out because of after 2 months, it will be a very different ball game in terms of fitness of players, because of it will be towards the end of the season. Then we will see the better Salah, the better Fernandes, the Pogba. Also, you look at Tottenham, and you also look at Chelsea after they brought in the new coach, they get rid of Lampard. Then you'll see a revolution of players coming back. Those top players gonna be doing better.
You know, Pager, I want to say to you, as a former player, when the team is not performing, what do the coaches, you can tell us, you have a better experience. And again, you are a coach too. What you also tell the players when the chips are down? You worked with many coaches. What would the coaches tell you guys when chips are really, really down? Do they also bow their heads and go home and hope for the miracle? What happens?
You use anything that is in your disposal. Whether you bring in the psychologists, whether you bring in motivational speakers from outside, the ex-players to come and motivate the player, because as a coach, you know exactly what is the cause, and then you know how to check them up in terms of boosting their moral. Because of once a player is down, there are two factors there: either family problems, or you got an issue with management, or you got an issue with another teammate, or your method of training and they are not correct. They don't agree with exactly what you are doing, which they cannot voice it out. But they can also maybe talk to the other assistant coach or the physical trainer, or maybe they can talk to the team doctor. But all that you have to sort of motivate them, sort of check them, or you do the team building within your training systems and exercises. Mostly it's more about working with their psychological part. That's the only way that you can survive. But by mere starting anything else and say, let me improve my training drills, you are just wasting your own time, because of when you lose, it affects emotional. Then once you work with the emotions of the player, then you're gonna win. Hence, if you hear the club what they have said, don't write us off by this game. Then exactly is using that psychological aspect of motivating players. That no, never mind about that. We still got a bigger picture. Our bigger picture is at the end. It's not this cup. This cup can be taken by no one. It leads us nowhere. The bigger cup is the one that takes us to European competition. The motivation is a key. You have to go down. If you fail, then you bring in the psychologist. Then they will help you out. Then which psychologist? Not anyone. Those that are working within the football, or the one that are working in sports, whether they be coming from rugby, cricket, or tennis. As long as they do sports, then a team sport, then they will help you out.
You know, you said something very powerful, because I remember when I was I was interviewing Coach Kgabi. I was profiling him. He told me a very nice story that, you know, when Arthur left Paris to go to Mawilere, and then he fetched him, no one wanted Arthur. They said he's ill-disciplined. So Coach Kgabi said, this is what I did. I made it a point. He was like my son. I would go with him. After training, you know, he says he would be here. And then suddenly Arthur changed, became a good player. Then Chiefs wanted him. And then thereafter, I remember Arthur at Chiefs, he was fired. He was fired for the next 10 years. I know Coach Kgabi introduced me to Arthur. We know we get along very well. We talk, myself and Arthur. Then I said, Coach, you know, me, when I met Arthur, I met somebody who's very respectful, very disciplined. He said, no, that was not the case when things started. So I hear what you are saying in terms of emotions. Check the emotional part of it, get involved, understand the player better, you know where they live. And because those are some of the things that he mentioned, that he would go to an extent of understanding where they come from. Ryder, you still remember Ryder? What is the problem? You know, all those things. So that's very important. Guys, I really appreciate, this was a very fruitful discussion. And then international, I'm not going to talk much. I just want to share the normal story that I want to share because I'm sure you can see the picture.
Yes, okay.
You can see. Now, yes. I want you to look at that picture because I always said I'll bring the Messi special all the time. This argument, Mr. Mkhonza, Messi should play other league and so on. Now, these are the players who played top 6 English league. Jamie Vardy played in England for almost the rest of his life. He scored only 37 goals. Eden Hazard, most of his time, yes, he played in France, but he spent too much time in England. He scored only 29. Ronaldo spent a very considerable time in England. Against the top 6, 28. Messi never played there. He scored 26. Now you've got the guy from Tottenham Hotspur. What's his name again? The name has just slipped my mind, but I'm sure you know.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. He still plays in England. You know, he scored 26, same as Messi. What's the name? The one from Arsenal? Pindigan Contra?
Abema.
Abeman. He has been there for how long now? 3-4 years? All right. Week in, week out.
Yes.
And Messi plays these guys during Champions League only. This is it. So this is the case that I'm putting. The numbers will never lie. I'll keep on giving the numbers that he does not need to go to England. He does not need to go to Italy. Messi needs to stay in Barcelona because he has messed up all those teams in Italy and in Germany. You ask Dortmund, they will tell you he scored 5 against them. You ask Bayern Munich, he messed them up. So he does not need to go there. So that's the Messi special that I wanted to share with you guys. And then, but this was a very, very, I don't know whether you want to comment before we close, because I'm looking at the time now, guys. I've been having with you now for almost an hour. I know that you also need to take a break. Do you want to say anything? Or should we close?
We can close, it's fine.
Okay. People out there, please.
No, Saubrey.
Yes, Pager. A quick one, my brother.
No, I'm saying all of this stats, it's saying to us, if he can go to England, it means he'll probably score 42 goals per season. That's possible.
That's possible. That's possible. And
yes, it's possible. From my analysis, he can score 42. 40.
And remember, he has scored 50 goals for the past nine years or so in succession. All right. I'll bring other stats, but it's fine. We'll talk about this because, guys, I want to release you because I'm a little bit worried. Tomorrow when I call you, say, we stay for too long. People out there, please subscribe, make a comment in whatever topic that we raise and like. And then know that on Saturday morning we are coming back. But and there are any games during the week. If there are games, I know it's myself and in Twentle. Anyone who wants to join us, any games during the week in Twentle?
Yes, Kaiser Chiefs is playing tomorrow.
Okay.
We play against Baroka.
Okay.
It's 2 features. There's another feature. I've just forgotten the feature, but it's 2 features tomorrow.
Okay, it's me and you. Tshepang, I know you're also available. Guys, you let me
Yes.
know whether you are available. I'll hear from you. But we'll do that game again. All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chabalala,
Yes, my
Mr.
brother.
Chabalala, if you don't mind, I can just quickly give you a highlight for tomorrow, for the feature of tomorrow,
Okay.
if it's okay with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Tomorrow is the 26th. That will be Orlando Pirates playing against Galaxy, TS Galaxy, and then Kaizer Chiefs plays against Baroka Football Club. And then on the 27th, it will be Bloemfontein Celtic versus Chipa United, and then Black Leopards against Mamelodi Sundowns. And then the last game, the 29th, is Amazulu versus Stellenbosch Football Club.
Thank you, guys.
Those are the
we still have to talk about Stellenbosch, guys. Look at Stellenbosch. Let's make analysis around Stellenbosch. Have we spoken about Pirates? Yeah, I'm sure we have.
Yeah, we have. I think
we have. Which we have spoken about TTM. We still have to speak about Galaxy. Just check which other teams that we need to talk about because we want to touch to all teams.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.
It's a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.